All right. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Thank you, Josh. I know you're not even here, but thank you for the very kind words. And that, Josh went out of his way to put that in the chat. I thought that was very cool because he put that in a while ago. So I think that's pretty cool. So, Josh, hope you're having a good time in your football game that you're at on this Friday. I want to talk about one thing first, and then we'll dive into the DFS topic because I think there is. I think there is something that we do need to discuss real fast. So, regardless of whatever you think about this, the Colby Howard situation is interesting. Here's my thoughts on this, and not like in a meme or a rant way. When we look at KBM, I can't remember them distinctly working on other people's vehicles. Think back and look. Like when Nemechek was in the 4 car racing for a championship, when Kyle Busch was hopping in this thing and just killing the field every year, they would never waste their time setting up trucks. They wouldn't even have that opportunity for people because you would have, Eckes in the 18, Kyle in the 51, Nemechek in the 4, or Harrison Burton, whoever was in there, like competing for the championships. Like you wouldn't be giving that out to other teams, especially not mid-pack teams. I mentioned whether it was last week or a week before, probably whenever GMS announced that they're shutting down their fabrication shop for the truck series, and that's where a lot of Chevy teams go to get their cars set up and buy parts and everything. Like, hey, this car got destroyed, we'll send it back to GMS, we'll pay them to fix it because they have a pretty big shop there. I would have to assume that this is proof, give or take, that KBM is trying to fill that role or is going to fill that role, especially when you look at the people who are in the cars right now, Jack Wood and Purdy. Yeah, sure, Purdy has the pole, but these guys are not Nemechek. They are not Burton. They are not Eckes. These drivers suck that they have. So I think this is rather interesting. I think this is a pretty big thing, you wouldn't have this before. So keep that in mind. I just think that's interesting. I didn't figure Colby would answer this, but I rarely ever interact with NASCAR drivers and stuff. I just found it very interesting that he even opened with this. Come on, dude, that's kind of sus. That's got to raise an eyebrow. And then this guy can just go fucking kick sand. This guy is a fucking moron. Anyway, I wanted to just mention that really fast. And at this point, he's not going to answer. So of course we got to meme it out. But still, this is a pretty big deal. I don't think you could take this lightly at all going into the future. Are other Chevy teams going to KBM? Is Howard the first? Is it starting to happen? Because it certainly hasn't done it before. So hey, we got to pay attention. Are there mid-pack teams? Like the Holmes truck would be a perfect example of this. Does he just gain a bunch of speed one weekend? Hey, NASCAR reporters, you guys want to actually report on something? You want to do something? Check into this story, will you? Thank you. When we look into this race here, I completely forgot that this in Texas was just erased from my mind. If you remember Texas, all the fast cars killed themselves at the end of the race. Nick Sanchez led the whole thing. He gets killed. Or passed, whatever. But you have Eckes, you have Hocevar, you have Freeze, a lot of guys involved in a wreck at Texas. A couple races later, same thing happens here on a restart. De Benedetto, Dean Thompson, Eckes, Hocevar, Chase Purdy plows into a guy on the fucking apron. But a lot of contenders, lap leaders were just taken out in this race. And it was really 2 races, pretty much back-to-back intermediates for the truck series that, front runners just killed themselves. Okay. And so when I was looking at my stuff, I was like, why are all the guys that I'm projecting do well here today? Why do they finish so poorly? And then I went back and I was like, oh yeah, they just killed themselves for whatever reason. When we look at Kansas, we had quite a few yellows in the spring, and we do have yellows. It's truck series and stuff, short stages, idiotic restarts and stuff like that. But there really are, there's a distinct barrier between a top 7 car, top 14, top 19, top 24, so on and so forth. The back half of the field, in terms of speed, not saying starting positions, but half the field has no chance outside of late race restarts and chaos to gain a ton of positions here. When we look at guys that are going to compete for a top 5, which this is a very fast intermediate for the truck series. Okay, a lot of lanes open, but the draft is huge here. This is a very much good cars are going to run well here. When you're talking about good cars, And I rarely use these rankings anymore. Yay, it still works. But like when you look at good cars, it is these bad boys here. Like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here's 7 cars. This should realistically be your top 10. Like all 7 of these guys should be in the top 10. Okay, who stays in the top 10 that isn't in this? You know, we know Purdy is pretty bad. Wood is pretty bad. Garcia is going to get forced down as these guys move up through the track. Love, killing it in the ARCA series. First race here, got some damage and only ran 5 laps in the practice session, but he certainly has better speed because he's in a Tricon garage over Drew in the Hattori. You know, you have DeBenedetto, who's like not going to even make it in the second round of the playoffs. And you have Dean Thompson, who is just a moron with speed. And so when we look at guys who are like cheap that can stay on the fringe, like top 12, you know, you do have to consider Garcia. I'm going to be playing Dean Thompson, just like it was in the spring. I'm literally playing the same lineups I ran in the spring. Not trying to. I'm going to end up getting there. I think Dean Thompson can hold on with the speed that this car has by itself. I think Love has a real chance of staying anywhere from 8 to 12, you know, and if he holds his position, loses 1, loses 2, you know, he's going to be right at the fringe of value, but I think you need that. I think it's very important to chase guys up front in this race, specifically because there's also Hocevar too. I haven't even mentioned Hocevar, so that's 8 guys in the top 10. You have the Grays. You have both Gray brothers. You have Stuart Friesen. You know, that's really going to round out your top 12 and stuff. So when you're looking at all these guys, you got to look at laps led upside, fast laps upside, and place differential upside. You know, the people who offer you place differential, Hocevar, Corey Heim, Zane Smith, and Enfinger, you know, what do they have to do, or what does Eckes, what does Ben Rhodes, what does Majeski, what does Nicholas have to do to be equivalent or outscore them? I think it makes Nicholas a really, really good play in all formats and really in most situations of how this race plays out. He's the cheapest of everybody I have listed here. He's starting second. There's a real chance he beats Purdy, just right off the bat. Now, he might get forced 3 wide with Majeski, and Majeski might end up taking the lead on like lap 3 or something, but Sanchez, between these guys, I think he's going to have the highest average running position when this race is over because he's starting in the top 5. He's not having to go through the field. He's going to be probably running second, third, and fourth all day. We know Nicholas has speed at intermediate tracks, okay? We know another guy who has a ton of speed is Hocevar and Corey, you know? So in terms of breaking down these guys, I think Corey and Hocevar are probably your safest of these. And the reason why I'm breaking it down like this is because when we start talking about how lineups are being constructed or how I'm chasing lineups, this is at least explaining my thought process and stuff. Ben Rhodes has a flying fast car. We know that he's going to be a contender here, despite the fact that we are practicing, you know, midday, heat of the day. We're going to be, and this track is going to be way cooler than it was in the spring race. In the spring race, it started a little bit earlier. We have the ARCA race on right now. This race is going to be going late into the day, so it's going to be much cooler than it was in the spring. But like Rhodes at 97, compared his price to Eckes, compare his price to Enfinger, like that. I mean, look, man, that $300 is pretty huge when you're paying up for these guys. That $600 between Enfinger and Ben Rhodes is pretty huge. You know, and if I like Enfinger, I'm probably going to lean more Rhodes when we start building lineups. Anyway, I wanted to discuss all the guys in the front. Let's kind of take a gander and look at laps, and then we'll talk about the rest of these guys here. When we look at laps, I did 3 things here, or 2 things rather. This is average mile per hour over 150 at the line. I went ahead and removed a lot of laps in this race, or in the practice session. I don't know if you watched on tape delay or if you were keeping up with it as it was going on throughout the day, but there was a lot of yellows in the practice. There was multiple cars in the wall. There was a lot of debris on the track that caused people to have a lot of flat tires. We had one of the Gray brothers have a flat tire. Crafton went into the wall due to a flat tire. The 04 machine with Spencer Davis got in the wall as well. Colby Howard cut a tire down and hit the wall. Lack of yellow. Like it was a pretty chaotic practice session. So a lot of people either had their first lap coming across the line like 87 miles an hour because yellows came out, or like, for example, Rhodes goes out there, he completes his first, or he comes around the line full bore, You know, he comes around, cautions out, comes around at a bad or at a slow speed. Go to pit road, comes back out. So I removed a lot of the first laps that a lot of these guys had because it was like 87 miles an hour. And then we had another yellow. And so there's big chunks of yellows. And you can tell exactly who was basically on what lap when that happened because we see a pretty big just angle of laps missing. And then there's other guys who had issues and yada, yada, yada. So like Jesse Love technically ran 5 laps. 2 had good speed. 1 was the lap he got on the wall. 1 was, his out lap here, which was like 165 or whatever. 1 was the yellow. So, yeah, sure. When you're looking, Love ran 5 laps, but he really only ran 2 in this whole practice session because he got on the wall and things of that nature. So I went ahead and typically I don't do 2 averages. I just do the 1 to look at, but this was one where I wanted to. So this is with all the practice laps outside of the slow ones, outside of like the yellow ones. And then this is the actual remaining fast laps here, which is what I'm sorting by. And so we see Crafton, who also got on the wall, technically only did 1 lap. Of course, he's going to be at the top. So it's not really even looking at these first 2 guys. When we look here, Rhodes, Tanner Gray, Nicholas is looking good. Timmy Hill only runs 1 lap yet again, so he's going to clearly be ahead of a lot of people here. But Garcia's there. Matt DiBenedetto is there. At least Haley Deegan was able to back up the speed that she showed in practice. But Hocevar, Jack Wood, Majeski, and this is also pushed over by like the amount of laps these guys did. So like clearly, when you sort by averages, you're going to have Majeski bringing it down, but that's because he ran the most amount of laps. Like that's pretty decent speed, 168 average, going through all these laps. I mean, that Ty Majeski's got real speed. Zane Smith is very similar, Doesn't run his last run, but head-to-head between Zane Smith and Majeski, they're pretty similar. Corey Heim, all these guys, all these teams who ran long understand what they need to do to be there. Enfinger, not happy with the car early in the run. This is an example of like, this is not caution laps, This was, didn't complete his first one. Yellow comes out, goes out there, runs 70. Clearly gets loose, has an issue out of 4 because there's not a yellow at this point. Comes around again at 167, and he clearly says, like, hey, like this is where you do take the driver's word into account, like in the TV. It's not like, man, we're going to go out there and run well. Man, we're doing this. Like, no, he just said, hey, we're not good in the first laps. We're not good in, like, the first 3 to 4 laps in the run, which is right here. It's indicated. Like, that, he's not bullshitting you there. But Enfinger, like, that's pretty huge to be, clearly he's not going to be running 167, but this is, like, car's upset probably in 3 or 1, whatever's killing the line, whatever's killing his speed, goes back into pit lane to make adjustments. They had issues, not issues. He got on the wall on the right side at some point, probably on this lap, and that's why I brought it in. We didn't complete any more laps. But all the guys we just talked about, or all the guys I just talked about here, are showing me pretty decent speed. Like, I don't truly have a lean towards one person. So it defaults to the guys who are much safer. As I said, Nicholas, Hocevar are guys that seem safe just because they have the place differential baked in. Like, Hocevar clearly has like 13, like at the bare minimum place differential baked in. Like, that's pretty huge. I don't really have anyone with value like running away from the field. When we look at averages, as I said, we had multiple yellows, so the best we can do is a 5-lap run, which, I mean, what is that, like a 20-minute practice session? That's not terrible. It'd be nice if we had more 10 laps, but this still gives you a good indication of where people are at. Majeski up there, Sanchez up there, DeBetto's up there. So, like, Chase Purdy, Jack Wood, I mean, Jack is just doing his own thing, of course. Like, he's in a KBM car and he's just fucking slow. Chase Purdy has some speed, man. I don't think I have the nuts to play Purdy in the situation. Starting so far up, like, I just don't see him holding on to a top 5 running position with so many good guys behind him. There's a real chance that Purdy does something stupid and just wrecks himself and probably takes out other people. He's a, this is a very dangerous situation when we have guys that shouldn't be up here in fast cars. That's when they're bound to make mistakes. So you have to keep that in mind in terms of, like, guys up here with low experience who are actually good. Like, Love is a guy I'm not concerned about. He knows what he's doing. Purdy and Wood are pretty terrifying to look at. When we look at the second half of the cars, or second half of the pack, nothing really out of the ordinary, but this is just so you guys can see everything. So after that, when we look at back half of the field, so as I said, Howard's not going to have 2 cars paired by KBM. But realistically, we can see him from the speed that he's had, going to be anywhere from like 27th to 23rd in this race. I'm not concerned, but the Crafton chalk, because I assume he's going to be pretty popular. I would want to be underweight on Crafton, which is a pretty big risk here. I understand that, but that's really where I'm leaning. Okay, due to the pricing that he's at, $9,400. I like Nicholas. I like Hocevar, going to compete for the win. I like Corey Heim, going to compete for the win. Ben Rhodes going to compete for a win. I would much rather chase guys who can potentially get laps led and fast laps in the place differential of Matt Crafton, who, I want to remind you, has had races where he gets stuck running like 18th, 19th, and 20th. You know, that's pretty nuts at 94. Like, I don't think Crafton is a lock at all. If you get to him, you know, if the optimizer's giving it to you, there's no reason to not trust him there. But I'd want to be underweight on Crafton. That's kind of where I'm leaning. I think Timmy Hill offers good place differential. When we look at Timmy's finishes, I mean, races that go green, races that have yellow, specifically intermediate tracks, you know, Timmy Hill is most likely going to be probably one of the better point per dollar plays here. I'd much rather prefer him, or I'd play him over Lawless Allen. Because look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could argue 6, 7, 8. Argue at least 6 guys here that Hill's faster than, that Howard is faster than, that Crafton is faster than. But past that, like, it's you got better plays up here. You really do. Hell, you might even want to go Friesen. I don't have him competing for the win, but I would not fault you for that. When we look at lineups, I'm probably going to be very heavy on the top half of the field, trying to stack, or not even stack, but play a lot of people up there. So, like, for example, one that I'm most likely going to run is, where are we at here? So, like, Sanchez, Thompson, Eckes, you know, Hocevar. Like, this is the type of build that I want to work with. You know, very similar here. There's a lot of great, like, you don't even have to go to the value plays. You know, Thompson being 6,300 really saves you a lot of money. And, like, yeah, when you look at this, at least I view it as, this is 4 guys who are going to compete for a top 12 today. 4. That's 4 out of my 6 guys going to compete for a top 12, man. Like, these are the types of builds, you know, just swapping out. And this is probably my favorite one that I'm going to be running. But, like, you can easily take Hocevar out and put Zane Smith in. You can easily take, you know, you could add Jesse Love to this, whatever you want to do. Like, this is where I'm at. I'm not using Crafton at all. I'm not using, like, a lot of these mid-play guys. Like, I'm not probably going to get to Ankrum. I'm not getting, Tanner Gray. I like Tanner Gray a lot, too. Gray makes a lot of sense today. Yet again, a car that, yeah, sure, you might mess up, whatever the case may be. Tanner Gray going to have top 14 speed. Both Gray brothers, actually, but I'd rather play the cheaper one. But yeah, like, it's crazy how you can build lineups here. You can do 3 10K guys, or roughly around, and then there's a big majority. Let's bold this. Baby, come on, man. What are we doing here? So let's bold that. There's really, like, if you combine Timmy Hill, Tanner Gray, I know 67 to 54 is a big deal, but when you're building this way, it's not. You have Hill, you have Gray, you have Dean Thompson, you have Jesse Love. If you want to go Jake Drew, you can. But there's 4 guys, like 4, let's call them, let's do like 6.5 to, 5.5 plays here that you can easily build with this, and then you just fill if you need to go to value, like say if you do need a punt or whatever, which you shouldn't need to. Like, you shouldn't have to go like min salary in this race at all. Like, Timmy Hill should be the cheapest you play. I don't really see a reason why you would go lower than that. So you could probably even take this down and say 6.5 to 5K guys, and then Hill, and then just fucking end it. That's how I want to play. you know? That makes this makes a lot of sense to me. And 3 in a sense of like 3 realistic drivers here combined with your 10K guys or 9K guys or the K. Like this is how I want to build. I don't see a reason to punt in this race at all. I don't think it makes much sense. At least line construction wise, that's where we're at. It's 5,800 people in a $10. You don't got to get that crazy. I think just don't play. I don't think you need to really play any like bad guys, but that's kind of where I'm at. What's going on, Phil? Thank you very much for joining me. The 7080 guys here, spending your Friday evening with me when you have a lot of other things you could be doing. Thank you for being here, especially during football season. I know a lot of people are listening to Week 1 DFS picks and stuff. Thank you for being here. I had a fun time with the white man. I have no idea what that is, dude. Let's see. Which favorite racetrack that you... Oh, thank you, Vinny. So my favorite racetrack is... You can't really see it because my camera is... Oh, that's the wrong one. I need to be on the live. You can't really see it because my camera doesn't go all the way up there, but I have... a lot of Atlanta stuff up there. I got like plushies and stuff, but Atlanta is also when I move, because I'm moving apartments in 2 months. I'll be sure to set everything back so I can show off all my shit, so you can see this stuff. But Atlanta is probably the best racetrack I've been to, and I'm not saying that because, well, I mean, the trip was awesome with my friends, but like TV makes Atlanta look terrible. Also, I think we've kind of discussed all DFS stuff, so we're just going to be... If you have any questions for DFS, feel free to ask me and stuff, and we'll go back and talk about it. But I think we're just kind of shooting the breeze here. Atlanta looks terrible on TV. I'm going to say it. But TV makes it look like a fucking boring-ass race. It looks terrible on TV. In person, that is the best racing experience that I have ever seen. Because I like old-fashioned plate racing. It races just like old Daytona. Which maybe you should. I got some stuff working in the off season that I'm gonna waste time digging into regarding that. But it races just like it. You can see the whole track from anywhere. It's insane. Like you can see everything, no matter where you're at in Atlanta. They have backrests. I like Atlanta a lot in terms of NASCAR. Now I have only been to Phoenix and Atlanta for racing. But I don't really see a point of going to any other tracks. Like, that's just kind of where I'm at. So I would highly encourage people to check out Atlanta if you like Daytona, if you like Talladega. Why waste money? Also, Atlanta has tickets for like Cup Series tickets, mind you, for like $25. I couldn't believe it. Phoenix is like an arm and a fucking leg. It is terrible. Like, I had way more fun at Atlanta than Phoenix. And I've been to Phoenix, like 14 weekends. It's like affordable. You can see everything. I would encourage everybody to go to Atlanta. I'm on board. Like, please turn Texas into Atlanta. Like, tear that shit. Also, how many people we got here? 67 people watching here. Rumor is schedule next season. I don't want to break that. There's a real chance that Montreal might not be on the schedule. Real chance. Texas moves to an April date for a repave, for a reconstruction following the April date next year. That's all I'm going to share. So hopefully they turn Texas into another hybrid, because that shit rocks. I love that racing. In terms of dirt tracks, I've been to a lot of dirt tracks. Vado Speedway Park in Vado, New Mexico, is the best one. Like professional, like seats are nice, restrooms are really nice. Like that's a real track. If you're ever in Southern New Mexico or West Texas, like I'm not talking West Texas, like fucking Lubbock or some shit. Like, I'm talking West Texas, town of El Paso. Okay, if you're ever in that area, check out Vado Speedway Park. But that is where I'm at. My next one on my list, I mean, it was like Daytona's probably on my list because I got friends who live literally by the racetrack, so I'd like to go to 500 one day, but I need to save up for that. Past that, Talladega too, but like I'm getting the same experience at Atlanta, and that shit is way more fun. Also, secondly, I was in turn 4 at Atlanta on Sunday's race this last time, and the way the banking was, we were turn 4, very edge, top left, you know, in like the peasant seats and stuff. You could not have your earplugs in. And I'm not saying that to be like, hey, you know, be a tough dude and not have earplugs in. Like and also I've been around cars and stuff. I used to put my head like right by like late model motors and stuff and modified motors and stuff at racetracks. Like, yeah, sure, my hearing's fucked anyway. But the next gen car isn't that loud. I swear to you, like dirt late models are way louder. But secondly, the difference in how the sound reflects off the wall, like on the front straight of Atlanta, compared to turn 4, since that turn is banked, the sound bounces off the wall that's already bounced away from you. You can have a conversation with your friends in turn 4 at Atlanta like I'm having right now. I'm not yelling. I'm not having any. You can hear yourself, and it's not loud. The sound bounces off like perfectly. So like that's cool as fuck. Like, but yeah, probably like I'd love to go to Darlington, just check that out. I'd like to go to a lot of racetracks just once. But I'm probably just planning on going to Atlanta, next year. I might go to both races because, Atlanta's probably a playoff race, next year. But that answers that. Who's my favorite to dominate here? Oh, man, that's a tough one. Probably it's either Ty or Nicholas. I'd probably go Nicholas. But it's not even a favorite. He's probably the best play, to be honest with you. Unless he gets taken out, he's probably going to be one of the better point per dollar plays in this race. Yeah, Raja, we'll watch him wreck. We'll see what happens. He's just, it's so hard to root for Raja, man. It's the same thing. I don't know. He's getting better. We'll see what happens with GMS leaving. I don't know. Like he's 8,300. I have no real issue. I have no reason to try and get to him today. Atlanta's a great track, but I'm a little biased for that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like if you live right by a racetrack, that's the best way. My hometown dirt track, El Paso Speedway Park, was like a mile from me growing up. I went there like every day as a child, up till it closed in 2016. So I'm totally with you there. We need Nazareth was awesome. We've lost a lot of good racetracks. Like I hope Rockingham, like it'd be like. I like Chicagoland, I like Kentucky, and I like Rockingham. Like, get rid of all these road courses, man. I don't give a shit about COTA. I don't care about these road courses. I don't care. We need like 3 road courses max. Like, get rid of the Roval. Get rid of all these. Like, dude, I wish we had way more ovals, man. I really do. I mean, with NASCAR. Like, man, I don't know. We used to have so many variety, and now we just have so many lame tracks. Like National Fairgrounds. You know, hopefully we'll get that in like a couple years. So we'll see how it goes. 1 hour from Road America, and it is fun. Yeah, I'm sorry that NASCAR just bent you over backwards and never came back, man. They didn't want the Cup Series there. But yeah, so I think that's mainly it in terms of, I think this is the build, man. I really do. This is how I'm going to build the majority of my lines today. 3-ish 10K guys, and then there's 3, honestly, like 3 guys, if not like 5, 5 to 5.5 or 6.5 to 5.5 guys around that range, and then just Timmy Hill if you need a value. Like I think that's the way you build today. Howdy Cruz, hope you went. Yeah, I'm doing well, Clutch. Did we get the battery out? We did, AD. We did indeed. We finally got it out, man. That was like a 4-day battery job, man. As an ex-mechanic, I want to just hang myself. Hope you're doing well, AD. Chicago's not as bad. So also, Chicago went. I don't know what these guys are doing. I have no clue how. Like NASCAR is held together on like shoestrings and just like old masking tape. Because prior to SVG winning that race, both parties were not happy. Chicago, NASCAR, there was clear division, anger. We went green in that race, expecting NASCAR to not return and for Montreal to take that date. SVG wins at Chicago. It's looked at as like a highlight race. And now, like, there's realistic talks of Montreal not being on the schedule. I mean, it's pretty nuts. I wish, yet again, I hate being like some random DFS dude talking about this because half people don't believe me or whatever. Like, why aren't reporters? Bob, can you, like, actually fucking talk to these tracks? Like, this proposed schedule next year is just fucking whack, bro. It's crazy. And we are in September, my guys. We are in September, and tracks don't know what dates they have because they're still moving shit around. Like, that is wild, man. That's just crazy. Like, Darlington, one of the like infield buildings like doesn't have AC. It's flooding like in the infield, like during a race weekend. Like, nobody's talking about this. What's going on there, man? Yeah, well, like I said, it's probably not going to be. I will put money on it. It's not going to be Atlanta next year. My July Atlanta race is not going to happen next year because I have to move my dates for that because Atlanta's not having a July date, from what I'm being told. I talked about that tweet earlier. Clutch. Yeah, that battery is so funny, dude. Oh man. Also, I don't know if you're still listening real fast. I think it was hilarious. I had people filling me in. I didn't know who you were. I've been like, I'm pretty ignorant to a lot of the big DFS players. I had no idea who you were. Nor does that change my view on you. Like, I'm not here to like suck your dick or anything. But I had people talking to me about like, dude, I can't believe that guy who spent months in Antarctica is like watching your like 11 person, like 12 p.m. lineup construction video or like 12 a.m. lineup. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? And so I, like, even when it's so funny. I had no clue who you were. So I've just been walking around in ignorance this entire time. So thank you for watching that. That's pretty cool. What else? That's what we talked about. Anyway, Clutch, Eagles, even Kevin too, because I know you've been in quite a lot of streams. Same thing with Phila. Thank you guys very much for still being here, watching my stuff, enjoying my stuff. I mean, I don't know. That means a lot. It means a lot that I can even have like 4 people watching. Because when I started all this, didn't think anybody would watch. When Pierce left, I thought everybody would leave. So I don't know. I'm pretty shocked that people are here. So thank you guys very much. I think we've covered about everything. I think that covers most line construction stuff too. And yeah, I think we're gonna call it there. I will see you guys tomorrow for a live show in the Xfinity Series and Cup Series. Cup will be early Sunday. I'd like to have some viewers. I'm gonna try and record it like 8, 9 at the latest. What time is kickoff my time? So that's noon. I mean, nobody's going to fucking watch my NASCAR video on Sunday anyway, but we're going to do an early NASCAR live show on Sunday. Past that, I will see you guys later, and best of luck, and yeah, see you guys later. Oh yeah, DFS Tavern. Man, that's a throwback there. That is a throwback. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I didn't do anything major for 2,000 subscribers. Maybe like 5K I'll do like a huge like story, because people don't know where I am. I used to write NASCAR articles. A lot of people don't know that, and they were pretty bad. And last time I checked, they were still up. They're pretty bad. Maybe we'll read through those or watch some old videos for like 5,000 subscribers or something. Thank you very much, Nick. I will see you guys later. Best of luck tonight.